Welcome to this new faction overview. Today we will be going over the Druids of Kalimdor. So first of all, let's take a look at their barracks. Or rather, the Ancient of War. So their first unit is the Sapling. The Sapling is a pretty tough melee unit for its cost. It has a very low damage but very high hit points. It has Thorns, causing this unit to return 20% of melee attacks damage to enemies, and Grasping Vines, which will reduce the nearby enemy movement speeds by 15%. Next up, we have the Dryad. Your Dryad is a pretty powerful range unit, having resistant skin and slow poison, as well as a very long range and a pretty high attack damage. Next up, we have the Siege Ancient. So the Siege Ancient is a pretty weak melee unit for its cost, but it has a Siege form. In Siege form, it will attack enemies with a very powerful and very long range AoE attack. You can of course make it mobile again with the same hotkey. Next up, we have the Ancient of Wind. So in the Ancient of Wind, we have the Druid of the Talon. The Druid of the Talon is a caster that is mostly supportive. It has the Cycle of Rebirth. It will create a healing bolt from a nearby friendly corpse that will heal nearby units for 10 seconds. They will heal for a maximum of 600 hit points each. Dispel Magic and Invoke Spiders. The Druid summons 2 spiders from a nearby corpse. The spiders are untargetable and uncontrollable and will attack enemies nearby. He also has Stormcrow form to transform into a Stormcrow, which will enable him to fly. Next up, we have the Fairy Dragon. So the Fairy Dragon has Phase Shift and Mana Flare. Mana Flare will enable it to channel and damage all casters who cast in a target area. Alright. Finally, in the... let's build some moons. Alright. Finally, in the Ancient of Wind, we have the Green Dragon. So the Green Dragon has True Sight and Emerald Flames. The enemy units attacked in underground, dealing damage over time to units in the area. Then we have the Ancient of Lore. In the Ancient of Lore, we have first the Druid of the Claw, another supporting caster with Roar, Rejuvenation, and Summon Bear. Next up, we have the Bear form. So the Bear has Roar and Animal Fury, which will increase its attack rate by 35% and movement speed by 25%. The final unit here is the Mountain Giant. The Mountain Giant is a very powerful tanky unit with Taunt, Nature Vitality, which will restore 400 hit points to the caster, Hardened Skin, and Resistant Skin. Finally, we have the elites of the Druids, the Keeper of the Grove. They have Nature Fury, Banish, Haste, and Cyclone, as well as Spell Resistance and Resistant Skin, so they're a very powerful caster. So that is the units of the Druids. Alright, next up, let's take a look at their heroes. So, in their heroes, they have Scenarious. Scenarious is a very powerful demigod hero with the following abilities. First of all, he has Divine Armor, which means he takes 0 damage. He's immune to spells. He has Chaos Damage. Nature's Fury, a very powerful Nova ability. Master of Nature. So Master of Nature, for every level, it will grant access to a new summon. So he can summon spiders, wolves, Furbolg Elder Shaman, and Isandre, a very powerful dragon. So all these summons are have different abilities and use. Next up, we have Nature Aura, which will decrease nearby enemies' movement speed and attack rate by a percentage. And finally, his ultimate is Tranquility. Very importantly, Scenarious is a legend and it cannot be revived. So if you lose him, he is lost forever. If he dies, you will gain a replacement hero, which is the Ghost of Scenarious. Let's wait for him to spawn. There you go. So the Ghost of Scenarious has weaker abilities. He still has Nature Aura. He's no longer magic immune. He has Entangling Root, Ritual of the Ancients to summon some fighting ancients, and Emerald Healing, which is a big healing spray. So here you go. The Mangrove Ends with cleaving attack and heavy plating. The next hero is Malurian, that you gain by completing the Awakening of Storm Rage. Oops. What did I misspell? Oh, there's no D. Complete Awakening of Storm Rage. Here we go. So, Malurian starts with Ganir, the Mother Tree, which grants him stats and root, as well as the Horn of Scenarios, which gives him hit points and hit point regeneration. He also has Summon Treant as an innate ability, and the following spells: Rejuvenation, Just Grow a Tree, which will create a tree at an area that will create little treants, Brilliance Aura, and Hurricane. The next ability is the next hero, is Torola. So Torola has the following abilities: Crushing Wave, Seismic Torrent, which will stun all enemies in the front, Devour, which will instantly consume a unit if it's not a hero, dealing 200 damage if it's a hero, and healing the caster for 50% of its hit points. And finally, its ultimate is Tidal Storm, a very strong stampede. The final hero for the Druids is Ursoc. So Ursoc has the following abilities: Maiming Strike, which will deal damage, reduce armor, and the movement speed and attack speed of the target. Toughness, reducing the incoming damage. Endurance Aura, Bash, and Avatar. And then the Druids have access to a demi-hero, that being the Elemental Guardian. The Elemental Guardian has Frost Nova, After Image, Frost Armor, and Entangling Roots. Alright, now let's take a quick look at the Druid's quest. So the first quest that we completed was Awakening of Storm Rage. You need to acquire the Horn of Scenarios and bring it to the Barrow's Den. And then you need to upgrade your Tree of Life to a Tree of Eternity. This is going to give you Nordrassil, the Darnassus base, the Cenarian Hold base, the Moonglade base, the hero Malurian, and the artifact Ganir. Then we have the Ijal's Rest. This, you need to control the Shrine of Malorn, and all the creeps around it are dead. This is going to give you a small base right here. Next up, we have the Druid's Rise. You need to control this control point here, and it's gonna give you a base right here. Next up, the Spirits of Ashenvale. You need to control the Fellwood, and all the nearby creeps are dead, and same for Ashenvale, and this is going to give you a base here in Ashenvale. Then we have Natural Contest. If you control Thunderbluff, you will be able to train the Elemental Guardian. Enemies at the Gate. You need to control Ashenvale, Northern and South, the Warsong Lumber Camp control point, the Eldorath control point, and the Warsong Lumber Camp is dead. And if you complete this, you will gain the Siege Ancient. The Crown of Shadow. You control Shaladrassil, which is in the middle here. And if you do, you gain a Shaladrassil's Blessing, which will enable treants to spawn from your control points when they're attacked. Next up, the Turtle Demigod. You just have to wait 14 turns and then Torola will awaken. The Crown of the Snow. You need to build 3 Tree of Life in Grizzly Hill and control Grizzly Hills, and all nearby creeps are dead. And if you do, you gain a new tree there, a new tree, capital tree. Also, you will be able to train Ursoc, and your Druids of the Claw will receive a powerful upgrade. So those are all the Druids' quests. And finally, let's take a look at the special power the Druids have. Let's see if this works. This doesn't work. So, the Druids have a power called... I'm not sure where to see it. It should be here. But basically, Druids units have a 40% chance to revive upon death with a certain percentage of their life. This is a very strong power that they have as long as they control the World Tree. I'm not sure where the tooltip is. Let's see quickly. Commands. Powers. Oh, there we go. Okay, Immortality. When a unit you control would take lethal damage, it has a 25% chance to revive with 45% of its maximum hit points. Only active while your team controls a World Tree. There you go, so that is the Immortality power. that has been the Druid overview. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.